Hello, people of Mizar. This is Kreig again. I hope everyone's day or night is going well. Today I'm answering questions suggested by Shane Wolseley. These questions come from the Actors Studio, or inside the Actors Studio, to be more specific. Uh, if none of you have heard of this show, I suggest that you look up an episode on YouTube. It is a very good program, and who knows, you might watch more of it. I don't know. Uh, Now these questions can be a little bit awkward, but nonetheless, they are very good questions, I believe. So, without further ado, let us begin. What is your favorite word? Hmm. I suppose my favorite word would be, well, considerate, actually. Uh, this is a virtue that I would hope to have for myself, although at many times I realize that I do not uphold it very well. And it is a flaw of mine that I wish to overcome. And yeah, I do hope to achieve a high level of consideration. Uh, I believe that without consideration for things, whether consideration for yourself, other people's, everything around you, things would just fall apart. It's not just like, it's not just emotional consideration, but like physical consideration, health consideration, consideration for the past, the future. It's a word that applies to every situation you should take into account right in your mind. What is your least favorite word? Hmm. Now, that's a question that, much like the first one, has many words I can choose from. But from right on top of my head, I would choose the word callous. And yeah, it's very much the opposite of consideration, to be considerate of things. Here it would be the callous disregard for things, emotions, status, uh, mental, physical health, all that jazz. Uh, and since, as it is the reverse or the opposite meaning of consideration, to be callous of things is to be basically perhaps self absorbed, or not even self absorbed, just not giving a damn. That's all there is to it. Yeah. Now, on to the next question. What turns you on? Oh boy. I am not sure how to answer this question considering the implications. But if I were to choose based on meaning, like what turns me on emotionally, what makes me happy, I would. I definitely choose hearing laughter. Basically, the sound of laughing coming from happy people, people who are overcoming their own problems. Basically, people I admire for doing so. Actually, uh, I'd like to hear. I love hearing laughter for from people who could just shrug off the depression from their problems and simply move on. Like, this is the cards that are dealt with me. I will play it and hope for a better hand. If I get the same, I'll do so again and again. Basically, it says I'm not giving. I won't care until things go smooth for me. I will do the best I can. And yeah, laughter turns me on emotionally just from all of that. What turns me off? Honestly, emotional and physical abuse. Yeah, because yeah, everybody would hate that really. But for me, it's definitely, and perhaps many others as well. Again, it's because it's not only physical and emotional abuse towards other people. Uh, that is definitely a bad thing. That is something you could equate to slowly killing them. It is an act of murder for me. It's not a good thing. But worst of all, the worst offenders could be ones who are emotionally and physically abusive to themselves. Uh, and of course, this can be brought on by many things. Like they just could have gone into depression one day. I mean, it's common, these sudden bouts, whether from the environment around them or anything, or from other people. Sometimes it can be helped, but to be physically and emotionally abusive to yourself, it feels like a sign of giving up. It's telling yourself, convincing yourself that you're not worth it, when in fact you could, in fact, be quite worth it, 10 times more than what others tell you, and 100 times more than what you tell yourself. So to hear or see that is definitely a turn off for me. Uh, I'd rather people be encouraging to others and to themselves. And instead of being givers of pain, be healers. Mind, body, and soul. Uh, what sound or noise do you love? This could be a silly one. I've already, if I if I wanted to cheat a bit, I'd say laughter again. But no, there are other sounds I love. For me, it is the sound of air conditioning. Yes, although coming from a desert country, that could be typical. We have air conditioning everywhere. I do mean everywhere, probably. Yeah, I perhaps be exaggerating. Uh, but yeah, it's just like a calming, peaceful sound to me. Like if you hear like if I'm in a room with an air conditioner, whether by myself or whatnot, it's a sound that something's there. Like you're in a sea of peace, a semblance of order, just from the white noise that comes from an air conditioner. It's familiarity, I suppose. And yeah, we all need familiarity in a sea of chaos. Uh, and especially in a sea of dullness, actually, or sadness, or you just need some sort of comforting sound. And to me, that's the sound of air conditioning. What sound or noise do you hate? Oh, I could say many things again. Shouting. I dislike the sound of shouting, and I don't mean sounds of shouts of joy or not. Not those are okay, but I don't want the sounds that I don't like shouting that comes from arguments or whatnot. These are sounds that are very distressing to me. And in a work environment, yeah, I mean, okay, I've never got shouted out at work. Thank God, thank God. But what I mean, if you hear shouting at work, and especially from your coworkers who or fellow trainees, actually, I have to be honest there, since I am still a trainee, it basically indicates to me that they're lazy, which is ironic coming from me, very much so. Uh, they are unable to realize or accept that They are no longer students. No, mm, or that they're working for a big company. That this could be something that will bring a betterment of their lifestyle, even if it is for a soul-sucking corporation. Uh, Now how should I say this? This is a very difficult question. There's are many things I could say about Shining. I won't, and now I just said two of them. Yeah, but yeah, but since shouting could be an indicator of many negative things, it is definitely one of my least favorite words. Hmm. What is your favorite curse word? Uh, a certain S word in the real world. I have to be honest. Because it's a word I could, and curious we can guess it by misterms. You can guess it very easily. I'm not telling. But yeah, it's a word you can use to describe many situations. Not necessarily bad, not necessarily horrible, but in general. And yeah, I just found it to be a very versatile word one could use. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? Hmm. Honestly, I would love to attempt voice acting. Mainly because voice acting is an indication, to me at least, of being able not just to change your voice into a whim, to change your character, as it is acting. Uh, and one of my favorite voice actors happens to be a man known as Luke Skywalker. Yes, I forgot the name of the actor, and I feel so stupid because of it. But yeah, but I love his voice acting. Many of you would know him as Batman from the animated series, from the one from the 90s. If you watched, if you watched Avatar: the Last Airbender, he is the Fire Lord, and in Kingdom Hearts, he's also been a Keyblade Master for the light side. Gee, what a surprise! And yeah, I would love the opportunity to try that. I am not confident yet in my own skills. I'd like to practice that, especially because it is not an easy thing to do. No. People would think it is easy. Perhaps they just have natural skill for it. I don't know. But it plays upon many of your skill sets. Basically, you'll have to have good diction, you'll have to have a good voice range. Uh, and there are many requirements. Like some people, okay, would want a young voice, a sound of a child, or a person who could do an old voice. They could just want your natural voice. Oh, they could want you to be the voice of the villain. There are many things actually, and train that is something that needs to be constant, and it's something that could damage your voice if you're not careful about it. There's one actor, Vic Mignogna, who has played many an anime role, Japanese animation, with one of his known voice with one of his known voices happens to be the character of a certain fighting series called Dragon Ball Z, a man by the name of Broly. And yeah, if you just seen a clip of that character, you could understand why. Because not only does this character have a deep voice, but he shouts a lot, and it's the same thing. which has basically damaged his vocal cords. It's not that it's one of his least favorite roles, but it's one of his least favorite roles to do, as it were. So it's one thing he'd rather avoid in the future, even though he has no trouble with the character itself. Onwards, what profession would you not like to do? Hmm. There are plenty of professions, but one profession I would not like to do is, unfortunately, be a doctor of any kind or any kind of medical profession, uh, because while many, for some reason today, view this profession through money-colored lenses, even though they realize this is a job that deals with human lives, and those who do try to develop a certain detachment because you could be friendly with the guy you're treating with, but you cannot be emotionally attached. And I fear making those emotional attachments. I fear that that might be something too easy for me to fall into. And if any of my patients die or something like that, if I were to be a doctor of any kind, it would just be too damaging, really. Hmm. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? And that's the last question, actually. What would I like him to say? Ah, God. Uh, want to play some games? Yeah, I wouldn't really want to know. Another thing I would love to have him say, I guess, would be, "Hey, cover my shift for me. I need to take a nap." Which for a moment sounds quite egotistical or egocentric. Yes. Yes, that's all the questions I have to answer. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for listening. Uh, have a good day or night.